Okay, great. Well, hi, Mary. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you. Oh,
And
sorry, I'm trying to open my notes at the same time and it's not working. There we go. And just so you know, I will probably put myself on mute because here is my office buddy. So he's joining Zoom a little bit probably because he doesn't like to let me be alone for that long. But you want to see?
he's so cute. Well, great to have another member in the audience. So, hi, everyone, and welcome to the Malloy Industries Masterclass on Building Solid Email Foundations, led by Fab Giovanetti. So, just an introduction about the Malloy Industries Consulting Group. We help growth stage company executives build remote consulting teams so they can reclaim their time while scaling their business from 2 million to 22 million. Our clients work with over 120 vetted and trustworthy fractional executives so they can achieve business objectives, reach investor milestones, and focus on what matters most. I'm going to drop my email and a link to our website in the chat if you want to learn more. And about the Malloy Industries Masterclass series, it leverages our experts' decades of experience to teach you practical skills in free and virtual Zoom workshops every week. And we're so excited for today's masterclass, where you'll get practical guidance on defining market segments and an email strategy. So thank you, everyone, and welcome, Fab.
Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. If you're watching the replay, you might not get the same sort of Halloween energy because I'm very timely based on the masterclass, but it doesn't matter. We're here to roll. So, hi, I will start nice and smooth because here in the UK where I am, the darkness is upon us. So it is a bit later during the day. Wherever you are tuning in from, hello. We're going to use something a bit interactive today. So you are allowed to have either an extra app or even like a browser tab open. Yes, I do allow it. But first, I would love for you to share with me in the chat, if you feel prompted, your favorite newsletter and why. If you can think of one that you really love receiving, since we're talking about email marketing, I might as well ask you about newsletters. I think it's only fair. There's a fight going on. I'm like, I'll share mine in a second as well, but see if there's any suggestions or anything, any newsletters and emails that you love to receive. Fun fact, when I used to ask this question probably like 6 months ago to some of my students, it will be quite crickets because a lot of people were not as interestingly as adept into actually receiving and almost in a way analyzing newsletters for themselves. Now things have changed. Everybody's like, oh, email marketing is cool. And I was like, I've been telling you for 4 years, so thank you very much. So but better late than never. So hello, people are coming in. That's amazing. I am asking for your favorite newsletter in the chat. You can write why if you don't know yet. just like it. You can also just write the name. I will share mine too in a second. So this is mine when it loads. And it's one of my favorites. I receive a lot of newsletters. I'll tell you a bit more about everything that I do, but again, email marketing has been one of the things I've been most passionate about pretty much since I started being a marketer. So we're looking 13 years. So maybe a bit later than that. But email for me has always been a big channel. For the interested is a great newsletter run by Josh Spector, who's awesome. And it is literally for creatives and entrepreneurs. What I love about it is that it sends you one tip or one resource or something every single day, I think 5 days a week, and then you have a recap as well. And it's simple, it's not frills, it's great, and it really shows you the power of newsletters with clear intent. And hopefully I will start you off with that today. Now, within my magic abilities, I'll put also the link in the chat if you're live, if it works. Not liking me, I'll try again in a second, see if I can put the link in the chat for it. That's because I got the wrong row. That will probably not help me. There you go. In case anybody feels they want to check it out, obviously you can see it here if you're looking at the replay, but if you are live and you want to subscribe or check it, this is great. And generally it's a newsletter that can teach you a lot about consistency and also success. And now some people have done it in very effective ways. Now, interactivity, yay, you're like, thanks Fab, it's Friday. The last thing I wanted to was to be interactive, but thanks, appreciate you. You can actually interact by either go to menti.com and using the code. By the way, you can interact if you're watching the replay, just in case. You can use the link in the chat, or you can just scan your QR code with the magical phones that we all have. So pick your pick, but we're going to have a couple of bits of interactivity. So I would absolutely love for you to join me for that. Currently, obviously, there's also Q&A, but you can always use Zoom for that. It's mainly for a couple of other things we're going to be doing. Also, don't worry, you're not going to have to look at it or use it all the time, but I will prompt you when the time comes for it. So I will shuffle us in this direction and then crack on with the next steps. Oh, apologies, we forgot that there's actually a phone here. There's not mine. So let me just pass it into the room. We forgot about that. Bye. And we're back. Nothing happened. Again, Fridays. So what do you think? This you can just write it down for me or shout it if you feel prompted. What do you think is the first thing that people check when they start working? Or maybe what is the first thing you check? You can write it down, you can say it, whatever is easier.
Email.
Is that what you, Chloe?
Yeah.
I'll steal you in a second. And I was going to expect Slack for a lot of people. Now, you can now, this is actually not the list. You can now tell me. So if you look at your Mentimeter, you can now choose the order of your options. How do you think does this stagger? So we'll see kind of what we're looking at. I'm a marketer, so I guess you can guess mine, what it would look like. There we go. It's updating. Oh, okay. Excellent. So we have email first. Okay, cool. News, company messages. We got social media at the bottom. You know, as a marketer, usually that always goes up for me. Oh, see, social media goes up. Company messages can be Slack, can be Teams, can be anything you might use. But obviously, it's kind of part of the name of the class, I suppose. But email definitely plays a big part. So, Wait, don't worry if I copy this every so often. So, I'll give us a few more seconds. Since we are doing this live, there we go. Okay, email is still coming up. Social media is still second, which I like. Let me just again. So, okay, the name of the session gives it away, I'll be honest. But emails definitely have a big part in this. Not everybody checks their email first, but a lot of us, when it comes to behaviors, and I talk a lot about behaviors in everything I teach, you know, roughly so many emails get sent, and roughly by 2023, we're looking at 347 billion emails, which is a lot. So when it comes to our behaviors, we tend to go into our email inbox to see what we need to prioritize, what we need to kill, which is, I know, very, very terminal, and what we need to potentially delete or move into other places. So our email inbox becomes a place that lives and breathes, in which we live and breathe as well. So there's a lot of power in understanding how to use our emails for ourselves. Hello, Laisha, and hello, Patty, and welcome. You see this, I will ask you to interact later on. Don't worry, nothing scary, it's super easy. I will remind you when the time comes. In the meantime, welcome again. No problem. So, why do emails matter? There's something called the marketing rule of 7. Give me a little thumbs up with real thumbs or reactions if you know what the marketing rule of 7 is. Nope, totally fine. The marketing rule of 7, I got a couple of heads that helps too. The marketing rule of 7 is actually used to be advertising, but is an advertising rule from the 1930s that states that any customer or consumer will take 7 interactions before taking action on an advert. In this case, is a piece of content. Roughly, we see that the touch points or interactions, such as writing a comment on a post, such as receiving an email, are still pretty much the same. 7 to 10 interaction is what on average our audience needs in order to take action. Think about an action that your audience can take. What could that look like? Maybe it's a comment. Maybe it's replying to your email. It could even be clicking on a button. Most of the times we are passive. So even just you being a bit more active today, score, I have done my job well. So it's not that obvious because as humans, we tend to be a bit more passive. And today is all about understanding how to build relationships fast. Hi, yes. we're going there. I'm telling you who I am. My name is Fab, and I'm a marketer, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Alt Marketing School, and lover of coffee too. I am originally Italian. However, I've lived in the UK, United Kingdom, for 13 years now. Now, why am I here? Well, I'm here because I love marketing. And I'm here because I realized a long time ago that the old way of marketing is not working anymore. What do I mean by that? I realized that marketing is not about ticking boxes. It's not about trying to trick people into making decisions. Marketing should be, should we say, about connection, should be about people coming together and building relationships. So hopefully this is what I can teach you today, even if just with email marketing. I've done my job, if that's the case. So this is why what I've been doing in the past year, it was just an idea, and I developed this idea into something that is known as Alt Marketing School. So me and the incredible teachers that you see here want to change the way that we perceive, look at, and think about marketing. So we've been working really hard to provide fun, educational content and a certification that allows you to learn how to market to hearts, not to brains. And so what you're getting today is just a glimpse of something that we created. It's just some of the frameworks, some of the tools, some of the concepts that also we teach our students when it comes to how to connect with people on a deeper level. Now, also, today is the day after graduation day for our final cohort. So I'm still buzzing, or a bit buzzed. So I'm not even going to apologize for the excitement, because it's been a great day. And yesterday we just farewelled incredible students after 8 weeks. So, you know, it was a big journey. So today I wanted to give you an example of that. You know, what we do and what I do, even with a class like this, I'm going to help you create a plan. I'm going to even give you a tool that can help you create a marketing plan. I wanted to actually get a better understanding of what are the next steps you can take to write better emails. Even if it's just on a smaller level, it's not what we will do in our certification, but I want to give you a taster. I want to give you an idea of what you can expect. So similar to this session today, we do live cohorts. So a bit what you do today. We also work on individual projects, and there's also an element of community. So if today I can get you to work on something really small, maybe challenge yourselves out of your comfort zone by thinking and almost kind of putting your marketing hats on, then my job is done. So I really hope I can do this with you today, so you get a bit of an experience of what would be 1 hour classes. As such, I always like to lay the journey. I think that's one of the most powerful things we can do. So what we're going to look at is optimizing emails for growth. We're also going to look at cleaning up your list, and even if it loads, segmenting your audience. So yeah, there's a lot we're going to cover. And I want to make sure that it's something that can apply to you and what you're trying to achieve as well. So I know that Mary Elizabeth has a notepad, so I'm very excited because it means we're ready to rock and roll. And here we go. A couple of things that we will not talk about today. I just want to make it clear. We're not going to look at the full plan of your email goals and content, because that in itself is a big part of the journey. We're not going to look also at automations and sequences, because that should be a workshop in itself, probably advanced as well. And also, we're not going to look at specific email timing. One thing I want to say about specific email timing as well, because it's a big question I get asked a lot. There's not a right or wrong. There's not a silver bullet about it. So what I want to say is that you will actually have to find the best timing for yourself by starting to send those goddamn emails. When you do that, I promise you will start understanding what works. But first, we're going to actually make sure that our emails get opened regardless, get interacted with. And that's the hardest thing that we can do. So let's look at optimizing them as well. So 1 second. Ooh. That's the one. So on average, sorry about that. So talking about optimizing content, on average, 5 times as many people read the headline as the body of the email. When you've written a headline, you pretty much spend 80 cents out of your dollar. Does it make sense? Think about any kind of hooks you see on social media on your content. Without a headline that tells me what's in it for me, what is at stake, you're not going to be interested at all in taking the next steps. And I think that's one of the bigger issues that some people find when it comes to actually create incredible strategies, is understanding that it all starts with that first promise that you make. So what do you need in an email? Attention-grabbing subject lines, a compelling story, and obviously a call to action. I'm hoping today that I can bring us a couple of these ideas as well. So my favorite thing, obviously, is to talk about the subject line, unsurprisingly. To me, is because it is the movie trailer. So think about when you're going to a really good movie and you see actually trailers for other movies. There is a promise of something that maybe you don't know, or something that you don't know the ending of. There is also some elements that are obscure to you so that you don't give everything away. So similarly, when it comes to that, when you're thinking about your emails and the way that you construct it, starting always with the subject line and that first step is crucial. However, we can make a lot of mistakes when it comes to that. So I want to give you a bit of an example. So I absolutely love to think about different things we can do. I'm going to share with you this tool, which is amazing, which is called Headline Analyzer, that can actually help you create better emails and better headlines. So a couple of reminders before I get into my first tool of recommendation. First of all, when it comes to your emails, don't be afraid to use something called the preview text. Think about an email you received recently. You will find your headline and subject line at the top, but for most platforms, especially for mobile phone reading, your actual phone will allow you to see a summary called the preview. Now, most email platforms these days allow you to customize that. Before, it was just the first lines of your text of your email. However, nowadays, if you're sending a newsletter email, you can actually change the preview text and make it a short snippet sentence that gives us a bit more ideas of what's going to be inside the email itself. So not only we have a subject line, yay, we also have almost one more sentence we can add, or maybe you can add a bit more context, or maybe spotlight something else that is part of our email. When it comes to subject lines as well, keep it short. Yeah, and that's the hardest thing, because when we're thinking about emails and actually creating a great email, we forget that less is more. So all I'm trying to say is you want to make sure that each and every word is actually enticing people without being too clickbaity. The problem with this is that actually there are a lot of words that could be potentially marked as spam by Google or any other email provider. So everybody's like, you're like, I can't use anything. You can use offer, you can use new, you can use money. And I want to just kind of like clear out the misconceptions here. That is not the case. What you need to think about when it comes to this is making sure that your subject line speaks to your audience specifically. If so, there will be some key words that only relate to what you do, what you teach, what you sell, what you offer, whether it's part of your industry, whether it's part of the topics that you work around, whether it's part of your products. By adding key words that are related to you in your subject line, first of all, you stand out and people recognize you, but also you avoid making too generic subject lines that generally don't grab attention and also feel a bit spammy. The best way, again, not to go into this spammy territory, is generally just think about writing it as a sentence that you would say to somebody, especially a question. Questions can be really, really powerful headlines, in my opinion, and they're simple to create. So when in doubt, I always say start with a question. That is an actual sentence that should make sense. It shouldn't read as a string of random words that you just put together just to get people's attention. Da, da, da. So I want to give you an example here. What? 10 subject lines with great open rates. Do you know what open rate is? If so, give me a little thumbs up, but I'm also going to share a bit more in a second. Apologies. There we go. Geez Louise. So, okay, we've got a couple of tops. So open rate is the average number of rates of opens that we're getting on an email. So basically how many people are opening our email. We can see the number, but also we get an average rate, a percentage roughly, of how many people out of all the ones that we send emails to. So these subject lines have really high open rates, according to AppSumo, which is a great website, which means a lot of people are actually open these emails. So the first one, apologies, there's a one there, but is, I was right. That's not good for you. And that's quite interesting as well. So with this one is a subject line based on curiosity. 13 email marketing trends you must know. This I like a bit more because this one actually has some specific keywords, email marketing trends, but also is a list. People love lists. So also, when in doubt, add a list. I always say, if you don't know how to break out like a subject line, you can turn it into a list or a question very easily. Another one that really taps into a problem of your audience is, before you write another blog post, read this, which I think is really clever. Before you do this again, whatever that might be that your audience is doing, read this. Are we still on for 12? Is again, try and think about it. What would that be related about? A launch, an event, an offer that ends at 12 o'clock. So this is, again, where you're talking to people that already know what you're talking about. And this is very important to say. This is how you create context. You don't want formal, do you? That's not necessarily my favorite. I don't like these type of emails, but I find interesting that it's in there, that it actually is getting curiosity as well. And then we have another example of an email that is about something happening with some scarcity. So we're giving people an idea of urgency. We're starting in 5 hours. What I like about the one after is that it's actually quite conversational, and these emails are really powerful, like, how it's Thursday, missed you. If you haven't emailed somebody in a while, it's nice to kind of like get a touch base email. And then the 3 last ones are very typical content-based emails. So we have a how-to, and I like this one because it's actually talking about 35 experts, also influencers. So how, and then it tells me how other people have done what you're trying to achieve. The one before the last is all about actually rewriting the script, which I think is really clever. Think about a very common topic, give it a spin. And finally, there's another how-to, which again is the 3rd suggestion that I would have when it comes to writing better headlines. Lists, questions, and how-tos allow anyone pretty much to turn from somebody who doesn't really know how to get a headline out of the way to actually create a quite powerful subject line, because these small shifts are something that people are looking for. So when in doubt, you can use this to help you as well. Now let's think about the content itself. So we have strong subject lines. We've seen some examples. How do we actually get into the next step, which is the content itself? Again, this, if you were here at the beginning, you know that I like this brand. So this is one of my favorite newsletters. And there are different things you can do when it comes to your content. First, start with a story. So when you're looking at the story that you're trying to tell in your email, make sure that people know what they're going to get. So set right expectations. When you sign up for this, for the interest, which is a bit of a handful to say, but for the interested, what they do is that, you know, every day they're going to give you one exclusive resource that you can check out. And then every week they're going to give you a roundup of the weekly resources. So it's very specific in the value they provide. They allow you to create an insider experience by just giving your audience or your subscribers something they cannot access or find unless they're part of this community. And obviously, if you're like, Fab, this is great, but I ain't got time to go around the internet and find things that other people say are interesting, think about what can you offer that is exclusive, whether it's value, whether it's content, whether it's resources that you have. Think about the newsletter as that community. Think about emails as those communities that you're trying to build. So when you're sending a mass email as a newsletter, you actually have the power to make it feel really special, but make it feel that every single subscriber is part of something very unique. Today, we're also going to brush on segmentation, because that's a way to make it even more relevant. But obviously, when it comes to sending emails to a lot of people, you can still make it special to them. Couple of other little tips of things you can do when you're actually going into the story of the email, the copy of the email, the content. Also, remind people that they're not alone. This is called Why We Buy, and is a great other email newsletter that I love. And what I love about this, look at this at the top. Woo! Every single week, Kathleen acknowledges how many people have signed up for the newsletter. And every single week, she thanks everybody and says, thank you if you referred a friend. So what happens here? First of all, acknowledging actually the growth and being honest about it. Secondly, encouraging referral. And because we're not done, ladies and germs, did someone forward you this email? Subscribe here, which is a small, simple reminder that if you are not actually a subscriber, this is the link for you to join us. Usually this stuff will be at the bottom. Kathleen was like, I'm putting it at the top. And that completely changes the dynamic. Shows me actually that I'm not alone. So it gives me social proof. Encourages me to tell other people how awesome this newsletter is. Or if I just received it from a friend, it's easy for me to subscribe. Little things like this elevate your content and actually help you create a better strategy without having to overthink things as well. The last step, obviously, we have created our trailer. We got our story. We're starting to build up ideas. And now we need to build a call to action. So a couple of things. I want to show you 4 types of call to action. These come from Harry's marketing examples, which I also love, as you can tell. I'm a curator in a lot of ways. It's part of my job, I guess, as a teacher. And I love this call to action because they're really clear. And again, they also allow you to tell the reader exactly what you want them to do. And we go back to that KISS principle. Don't use 50 words when you can use 10. Honestly, just keep it simple. So I'm going to show you these 4 principles you can use. 1, match the feeling, which I love. So when it comes to the call to action, instead of being click here, you're like, buy our wine. You say, I want to drink wine on the balcony. You're actually telling to your audience exactly what's going to happen to them when they click on it. Or is an actionable next step. For example, if they click on it, they're going to be matched with a developer. Or they're going to access the heat map, which means you tell me exactly what action I'm going to take and what's going to be the result. Even better, you can handle objections straight away. Let's kill objections with a sword. For example, start for free, no credit card required. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to have to pay for something. No credit card required. You can access it up until you want it. Or make it specific. And this is also really good. So you can think about how can you make your call to action more specific? Start a 7-day trial for $7. Very specific. How many days? How much? Or even take a 2-minute tour. Time is money. We're all here to reclaim our time. So are our subscribers. So we can make it more specific for them so that they know that if they click, they're going to only need to give me 2 minutes of their time. So let's go back very briefly to our 3 steps. She says briefly, let's see if Mentimeter allows me to. Okay. So we had, the only problem with this, it doesn't have a clicker like, there we go. There we go. Like Google Slides does, but we'll forgive it. So think about any subject lines you want to create. Can you think about for yourself, what will be the easiest type of subject line that you can start playing with? Do you think it's more about lists? Is it how-tos? Maybe starting with some educational kind of pieces? Or are you looking more at, for example, thinking of questions? Then think about what's going to be inside your email. What type of core content and core value can you provide to your audience that is unique and makes them feel special? And finally, what type of call to action would make more sense based on what you want people to do in your audience? So if you start thinking about one action step and one clear element that you want to do for each of them, you will actually be able to create confidently a lot better emails. So if you can think of one thing that you really want to try and do, obviously you can always put it in the chat. I would love to hear if there's any ha-has midway. But it's also something for you just to reflect without having to write it. I just wanted to reflect. I told you a lot of things, but there might be one implementation that you can do for each of these just to try and create an email, hopefully next week, that you're going to send to somebody. Even if you just literally sign up for a platform and just do a test to send to your colleague or one of your clients or your business BFF. I don't care. Try it out. This is a good time for you to actually try something new as well. Now, with the power of very slow shuffling back, this was obviously the first step, and I just wanted you to think about it. Let's go into the next step. So how do you think we can encourage referrals for our newsletters? Do you have some ideas of what we can do to actually get people to share? Because I would love to tell you that, for newsletter growth, people are just going to keep sharing what you do for the kindness of their heart. Doesn't really happen that much. So referrals, if you're thinking about it, maybe writing some ideas, Referrals are actually a great way to grow your newsletter, as much as it is to obviously create a landing page that tells people sign up for my newsletter. So if you can actually start encouraging people to share with their friends that also my newsletter is actually going to be a really powerful way to see some results. So referrals matter, and I wanted to say this. So word of mouth marketing actually makes a massive difference. Why? Because you turn your subscribers into advocates. And also it adds a bit of gamification to emails. There's a tool called Spark Loop, which I put in the chat if you're watching us live, that actually allows you to add incentives. So that's a big thing, obviously, incentives and gifts for people that actually do referrals. The other beauty of referrals, it doesn't have to happen all the time. Giveaway, raffles, this could actually be things that instead of driving people to social media, you can use emails and email marketing as a way to grow your list and grow your email community by asking people to refer your newsletter to get prizes. So referrals is really a great way to actually 10x your email marketing efforts whilst you're still working on organic content, creating great emails, but also starting to harness your subscribers more, which is the number one mistake that we make. So if we're looking at growth and optimizing our emails, starting to think about how can we encourage our people to share more is powerful. This is a great example of how we can do that. So a couple of practices I wanted to tell us about. First of all, a simple thing you can do is think about incentives you might want to offer and present them to your audience in the welcome emails or welcome series. So if you're thinking about actually adding referrals and you want to start adding them to your emails and newsletters, then the first thing I would say is start thinking about what would you like to offer. As I said, you can also look at giveaways as a one-off option. Can you think about some incentives that maybe you can offer to your audience? Maybe some resources that actually are complementary to what you offer or to some of the services or products, or even some ways that you can give them exclusive access to something. This again is all about making you stand out from some of the more traditional practices of email marketing and trying to add a bit of personalization and community feeling. Because when it comes to foundation, I don't want us to think about it's just about sending, plain emails. It's about building a relationship step by step. And the more you make feel your audience and your subscribers like they're part of something, like there's actually some rewards for them to actually talk about you and spread the word, the more powerful the whole system is going to be. So a little bit of a fun thing. If you are a software company and you're helping founders create shared projects and task lists, can you think of 3 rewards that you could offer your subscribers? I'm gonna have a bit of water. If you want to write one reward in the chat, I would absolutely love that. Told you it's going to be interactive. If you're watching the replay, you can write them down. And then I will know that you did your homework and you came up with 3 incredible ideas. So your software company helping founders create shared projects and task lists, like Asana, like Monday, like Trello, you name it. Hopefully most of us are familiar with some of those. So what are 3 rewards that you could offer your subscribers? So one, for example, could be a checklist. So that could be a simple checklist that they can actually download that can help and set him up better projects. And then you can have a done for you dashboard that they can actually access and then customize for themselves, especially if they're users. That can be even more powerful. So an exclusive dashboard they can just set up. Or even it can be a short video training that will teach them how to better delegate the projects and tasks. The beauty of these things is that they're not going to cost you a lot of time. And if you do them once and you create some great resources, you can then reshare them and actually repurpose them again and again, and even offer them to people as they keep talking about your brand. So honestly, it's really about getting creative and having a bit of fun and thinking about different things that you know or that you can do, or maybe that you already have that you can offer. So this is really where, as I said, that exclusive value is going to come to place. And this is another great example of a newsletter. I do throw a few in, which is called the Still Club. And obviously what they do, which I love, they actually share like different examples. And in this case, what it does, it actually gives you different templates every so often as a subscriber, giving you extra value. And if you refer, you can get up the ladder and into a leaderboard as well. So that's a great example of actually you can have fun with it and create something unique and new. So don't be afraid to actually cross-promote content. And you can even start partnering with other people, especially if you're just starting out. It's a great place to look at other brands or creators that might have small communities that actually are complementary to you. So that when you're building your strategy, you're not just looking at building newsletters, creating great content, but you're also going to be looking at using your subscribers and advocates and starting to create some relationships with other people that send similar newsletters to you. There's actually a really cool tool called Magic Link by Sparkloop, which again, I would recommend you check out. And what this allows you to do, it allows you to create a simple link that will automatically get people to subscribe to your newsletter with their email without having to go through all the different steps that you will have when it comes to subscriptions. So again, check it out because these little things can actually boost your signups, get more people to want to access your exclusive content in a few simple steps. So I definitely recommend checking that out as well. So what would be a great example of exclusive content or content, since we talked a lot about content and optimizing, that you could have for our newsletter if you were to create one? So email marketing is all about creating great journeys and obviously relationships with our audience. And it all starts with creating consistent content and value. So newsletters is where we're starting. But what content can you create yourself? What will be slightly different that people wouldn't find anywhere else? Feel free to give me one example if you want, before we move on. What we do, just as a bit of an example, what we do is that we break down one piece of social media news every single week in the newsletter. That's one thing we do that you wouldn't find anywhere else. And we tell you what's happening, why it matters to you. We also have one kind of upskilling class or workshop inside the newsletter, like a couple of very specific tips on a specific topic every week. And then the rest is also obviously some other links that you can find elsewhere and some reminders of what we're up to. But we like to give something unique that people wouldn't just find somewhere else. So think about what would that look like for yourself as well. Oh, one sec. Da-da-da. Just having a little bit of a funny bit. There we go. Apologies. It's not liking me. The other step that I wanted to talk about is actually understanding the list quality. So how can we keep the quality of our list high? Because that's one of the biggest issues that I find some people have when it comes to starting an email list. Give me a little thumbs up in the reaction or real thumbs if you already have a database of emails that you have into a platform. Hopefully, if we're looking at the foundations, there's probably something around that. I'm going to assume that Chloe's a yes, I think, regardless, because obviously, yeah, we got it. If you don't, then this is actually even better practice because amazing from clients, not a database. Okay. So when you're going to start potentially, what you could do, Mary Elizabeth, and thank you so much for sharing. What you could do, even if you wanted to start bringing them into a journey together, start sharing even just monthly updates or interesting content, start really building their relationship, then you could send them an email. I know it's going to be annoying, an individual email, because you can't add them legally into a database if they haven't agreed to, and encourage them to sign up. Or even you can say, I created, I don't know, Mary Elizabeth, you want to write down what you do? I can give you a bit of help with that as well. But it could be really interesting to create something specific for them and say, I created this free resource. If you like to access this is where you can access it. You also get monthly updates from me about the topic that I help you with or whatever I do for you. So this could be a nice way to segue them into that. And then what you want to do as people are coming into the list and they're coming and they're signing up or they're getting referred, you want to make sure that actually you keep your list clean. So what are you going to look when it comes to measuring success for your emails? How are you going to know if your emails are going the right way? We've got 3 things. Open rate. We know now that good open rate comes when what? When we have a great subject line. So as we're starting sending our emails, we want to make sure that we have a healthy open rate, that people actually open our emails. If that doesn't happen, and especially if we have a new list and we're just starting out, then most likely our subject lines are not hitting the mark. A good open rate is about 30 to 50%. 50% is bloody good. So if you're telling me I want 100%, then join the queue, because that usually doesn't happen. So the average is about 30 to 50% open rate. Now, just to make the matter more depressing, the average click-through rate that actually we see on newsletters and emails is between 3 to 7%. Most of my clients and most of our students actually experience about 1 to 3% instead. So click-through rate is even lower, because out of all the people that you send your email to, only a certain number will open the email. And out of those, only a very little number will click on your emails. So you will see that depending on the email, you might actually find that the rate of click-through might be a bit lower. So especially when you're looking at this, you want to make sure that you actually create really powerful calls to action. If people are not clicking, it means that the call to action is not clear enough, or maybe the content is not helping leading to that call to action as well. And also keep a keen eye on unsubscribers. How many people are unsubscribing from your emails? How many people are actually kind of accenting and how many people are exiting? You will find that there will be at least 1 to 2 subscribers on most emails that you send. I just want to say this. Not all the time, especially with a small list, is more likely people are a bit more lenient, but especially with bigger lists, some people just access things because they want something for free. They want to watch a video or tutorial. So really be mindful of the fact that there's going to be a lot of that. So once you start seeing patterns, then you can actually make sure that your email is healthy, the people are opening, people are clicking through, and we're lowering the amount of subscribers. So whenever people say, what are you looking at every month to make sure that your email is going well? Well, when it comes to my campaigns, I look at my open rate, making sure that it's high, click-through rate. I want to make sure that I have new subscribers coming in, but also I make sure that there are not too many unsubscribers every single month. What I say is start out, and after 3 months, you can do a couple of things. First of all, you can make sure that actually your emails are going where they should be. And secondly, you make sure that your email deliverability is high. What is that? Email deliverability comes when people are opening and clicking through your emails. So it's the ability to deliver emails to your subscribers' inboxes. And it shows actually how good is the email list that you have. So what should you do in order to make sure that your email deliverability is still high and your emails don't go into spam? So that's what deliverability means. So one of the biggest things about email foundations is making sure that your list is healthy. So what do you want to do when it comes to this? You want to actually make sure that you clean up any unengaged or cold subscribers every 3 months. Just like you would assess your efforts every month, every 3 months, you want to do a bit of a system check in marketing, yeah? So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you know if there's any unengaged subscribers. If so, you can send them an email at first and actually make sure that you check in with them. Every email provider you might be using will actually be able to assess these cold subscribers for you and flag them. After that, what you can do is you get them to open the email that you send them. If these people don't click on the email, they will stay inactive in your email platform. And this is where you can actually delete them from your list. So platforms like MailChimp, ConvertKit, and all the likes actually will tag and segment. So they will actually create a group of emails for the people that haven't opened or engaged in your emails for about 90 days, 3 months. So every 90 days, I look at them and I make sure that I send only to them a specific email saying, hi, I missed you. Where have you been? Do you still want to receive emails from us? Click on this link. The more unengaged subscribers you have, the more likely your emails are going to go into spam, because Outlook, because Google are going to say, OMG, this person is not to be trusted because nobody's opening or responding or engaging with their emails. So as you're building your list, make sure that you check that the numbers are looking good, and also that you don't have too many unengaged subscribers. And last but not least, I wanted to add one more thing today, just because we're not just trying to write better emails. We're not just trying to get a healthy list. Let's actually start right by creating groups within our list from the get-go. Trust me, people that come to me that have been working on emails and email marketing, the first thing that we do, aside from cleaning the list, is segmenting the audience. And it's a lot harder when you have thousands of people in your list. So how can we segment our audience? So think about it for yourself. If you want to write it down in the chat, I'll keep an eye out. But also think about it. What are some ways that we can segment our audience? Can you think at least about one way that we can group out our audience in our emails? For Mary Elizabeth, it could be clients and maybe new contacts. So first of all, we get clients into like a nice email list. And then maybe we start sharing with other people that we are creating a monthly email, a monthly bulletin. And then we start segmenting in that way. Maybe it's location. There are other things. Nice. I love it. Age of students that I serve. Amazing. Yes. Different issues based on grade level. I love that. A way that you could do that is also when they sign up or when you get their info, you can also get them to answer a form with some questions related to this. And then what you can start doing, and you can start tagging people. So just to explain, you can actually break things down. So what you can do in most platforms, you can add a label, which is a tag. So almost for a lot of these examples that Mary Elizabeth shared with us kindly, I would use things like tags because interests, behaviors, topics. So for example, the different issues might be something you want to use tags for to start kind of like knowing what they do and kind of being able to assess them. And this is kind of obviously like a very simple thing you can do. You can even tag people based on links they click on. This is ConvertKit, which is great. So you can even go the extra mile. And you can, for example, if people click on something, if you see here, it says tag subscribers with a specific thing. So tags are really versatile and you can use them for topics, interests, you know, as I said, behaviors. Whereas the other example that Mary Elizabeth brought us, like the age, that's a great example of segments. Maybe it's the customer journey. Is it a client? Is it a prospective client? Is it a past client? Maybe you want to segment for location or demographic, something you can do manually, or some platforms can even do for you. But when you're starting out, yes, we want to write better emails. Yes, we want to make sure that we know what we need to track and how to keep our email list healthy. But also let's start breaking people down into segments. Why do you think does it matter to add tags and segments? Think about it. What can we do if we actually get people into groups? Oh, I'm here. Yeah. I heard it in the background. We can serve our people better. We can send people only emails they want to receive. If you have an event, I'm going to give you an example. If you have an event coming up in New York tomorrow and you want to send people a little reminder, and you send it to somebody in London, they're going to be like, I love you, but I ain't going to come and catch a plane for you tomorrow. So simple things like this actually make the audience and the subscribers feel like you know them. And the inbox email they receive is only for them. Why? Because it's actually targeting them, not everyone. So actually starting by setting segments and tags can be a really, really powerful thing. So one of the segments that everybody should create when you're starting your email journey is a customer journey segment, always. So think about things like new subscribers. Think about things like warm subscribers. So warm subscribers have been maybe in your email list or in your database for a while. And then you have things like current clients and past clients. We had students that created like 10 different steps for the customer journey. You know that better than anybody else, if it's what you do, if it's your company or the company you work for. But when it comes to this, you also want to think about, sometimes you start simple and that's also fine. So really starting breaking this down and looking at the journey, how it should be, can really help you creating even just this type of segment. That's a great way to start when you're sending emails. Because then if you have a specific offer, a specific request, you can only send it to the right people. For example, new subscribers, you can send them a welcome email. Warm subscribers, you send them the monthly newsletter. Maybe for the current clients, you send them some special, unique content that it's for them because they're VIPs. And finally, if you do have some past clients, you can always send them some emails to re-engage with them. And the beauty of it is that you can even then automate them, which, as I said, is a conversation for probably a bigger topic and a bigger workshop. But you can even go and start setting up some of these sequences, these touch points, so that everybody will get exactly what they need at the right time. That's, for me, the beauty of email marketing, is that really allows you to do that. And for example, if you use a platform known as ConvertKit, what you can even do, you can even ask your audience to update preferences, as you see here. And depending on what they want to hear about, they will get tagged in a specific way. So ConvertKit is one of the leading email marketing platforms, and it has a lot of these ways to actually make sure that you can segment and target your people the best way. So definitely recommend you checking them out and giving them a shout as well. So I just want to do like a bit of a system checks. So we did go through a lot today, I know. And one thing that I wanted to say is, I want to make sure that you actually sink it in and think about all the different things that you can do, but really think about one action step that you can take. Especially if you have any questions, I want to make sure that you can ask me questions in a second. So I just wanted to share one quote, which is one of my favorites, which is, email has an ability many channels don't, creating valuable personal touches at scale. And I believe that this is what you can do. Write better emails. Make sure that you track what's happening, make sure that you know what's working. And as you're building your list and you have more than 5 people, including your mom or your partner, start breaking it down into segments so that it can be more valuable for them. So as I said, we looked at optimizing the emails. We looked at making sure that you clean up your list recurringly and also measure your efforts every month. And then we also looked at segmenting your audience. If you start creating one email, you make sure they have one person in there, and then you actually send that to that one person that maybe is in one segment, then you're building the blocks. And every time, just rinse and repeat. Every month, make sure that you check how your emails are going. Ask yourself whether you need to create new segments, and keep sending that content. If you're just starting out and you're watching this for the first time, what I would say is start with 1 email a month. That your work is finding a platform, and let me know in the chat if you want to hear some platform recommendations in a second. But start with 1 email a month, even if it's just to like your 10 clients, and see what happens. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I want to give you one little tool that I have for you, but also would love to hear, if you want, in the chat, if there's one thing you're going to do next. What is the next thing you're going to do in your email marketing journey? Let me know. If you don't know, I'm going to send you a little link. It's also in the actual thing itself, but I have a little plan. So based on what we talked about today, what you could actually do is use this plan that I'm going to put in the chat for you. Ding. And then you can start build that for yourself. So in answer to Mary Elizabeth's question, when you're actually starting to build your email plan, obviously the first thing you're going to do is choose a platform. So Google doesn't do that for you. So when it comes to like your email database, will only start when you choose an email marketing platform that can start sending emails for you. So email marketing is not really about Gmail. It's not really about Outlook. It's about obviously taking all these emails and putting them into a system like MailChimp, like ConvertKit, like HubSpot, some of the ones that we know. And then you can start sending these emails to people at scale. So this is how you would do it. And as I said, I will start sending individual emails to people that maybe you want to reconnect with, and then encourage them to potentially, again, access a specific resource or maybe sign up to start receiving recurring emails from you. So look at tools like MailChimp and HubSpot if you're really new to it, and even ConvertKit can give you a really good idea. Based on what you do, I would say ConvertKit and MailChimp can be good options. And these are usually the starting point for a lot of people. Platforms like Klaviyo can also be really, really good if you're just starting out in e-commerce space or you're looking to upscale in e-commerce spaces too. So they will be like my 3 recommendations. Chloe, do I have time to just quickly share a little thing that I have for the team? And obviously, if you have any other questions, you can put it in the chat. Can I?
Of course. Go ahead.
Yay. So check out the little resource. The actual plan has also got some extra links, especially if you're still starting out in your journey. There's a couple more how-tos to break down everything. I know that in 1 hour, that's so much you can do. And also, if you are interested in learning a bit more about marketing strategy itself, I just wanted to give you one more little thing as well. And obviously, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. So we would like to give you 35% off one of our courses with the code IMPACT35. That could be our self-paced introductory course. You can find these in the Mentimeter as well. But I'm also going to put them in the chat. Or with the same code, you can also sign up for a live booth camp, which is about 3 days of classes that is happening next week. So that's obviously if you want to look at different elements of the strategy to build that community, not just in your emails, but also beyond. But especially for the email side of it, I would definitely recommend checking the bonus resource that I already put in the chat with that link, because it has what we use to keep track of the emails that we want to send and why we want to send them as well. So I'm going to put the little link above in the chat as well if you want to check out our marketing strategy as well. It is, again, 3 days of classes. We also have some office hours, and at the end of this, you actually come out with a brand Bible. So if you're interested in that, you can ask me any questions on LinkedIn or anywhere else you can find me, but also you can check it out for yourself and see what you think. If you have any other questions about emails, I have 1 or 2 minutes. I know that we're running out of time. I always take the full hour. I never take less than the full hour. So please feel free to ask me anything that might be. And if not, I'm also going to find my LinkedIn. You can always ask me a follow-up question there, because I always have some more resources on the topic. Will I find myself? That is the question. I should. There we go. It's Fab Giovanetti, as you can see it there too. I'm just going to put it in the chat. And if you have any questions there, do let me know. I would definitely say the first step is try and check our email marketing plan. Again, it's completely free, by the way, to access that resource. So just put your email in there and see what happens. I hope I gave you some ideas, not too many, because it's Friday. I don't want everybody to then just say, I'm not going to do my weekend. I'm going to sort my MailChimp right now. But let me know if you have any questions anytime. I'm here to help. And yeah, I think that's all from me, Chloe. How did we do? A lot.
Thank you for the flexibility.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having such an amazing presentation today. It was super informative and very engaging.
It's good. It's definitely
Seems like Mary also agrees. So thank you. I'm also send out a follow-up email. It'll have like the recording, and Fab will put your email in as well if anyone wants to reach out to you directly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Big and smalls. Have a lovely day. Bye.